Welcome to another episode of Biscayne Stories. Today we have here with Bruna Iasi.
Yes.
She is a thing. I practiced before.
Good job.
Thanks. And she is a mom. She is passionate about education and kindness. Because we're gonna get to know you. So let's get started.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you originally from?
Okay, so I grew up in São Paulo, Brazil, and I moved here almost 8 years ago. It's gonna be 8 years in November. Oh my God, time flies. And I used to be a nutritionist in Brazil. I worked for 10 years as a nutritionist there. And then I moved here and I was a only mom for 7 years. And during this period, I started to love education as my kids went to school. So I was PTA president for 3 years in the Presbyterian. And then I started to study about education. I did some trainings, and now I changed my career. And almost 40, I changed to a reading teacher. That's my new passion.
And you are not only a mother to little humans, you're a mother to a pair of guinea pigs are pregnant.
Oh yes, I have 2 kids and 2 guinea pigs, and I'm a grandma to be of a guinea pigs baby.
I like that.
Miss Belle is super pregnant, so as soon as she gets babies, I send news. So our friend here can keep everybody posted on how many babies a guinea pig can birth at a time.
We will update our listeners via Instagram, please, whenever you have updates on Miss Belle's progress.
Oh, I'm gonna send you a picture.
Please. Thank you.
Awesome.
I will share that. And when they were purchased, you were told that they were not supposed to. They were just partners. They were just hang out together.
Yeah, because they cannot live by themselves. And it's true, if you take one out of the cage, they scream that they want the other one. So they are siblings, but this is nature, and she is gigantic, almost bringing happiness to my life.
More responsibility. I love it.
Yes, just a little more. Life is so easy already, so I can handle. Remember, I'm a Cancer girl. So a zodiac say Cancer is the mother of zodiac, so I can do it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, I love zodiac. So Cancer is the mother of zodiac. That's why I'm a teacher. Most of teachers are Cancer because we were born to help each other.
Well, I'm a Cancer too. I'm a border. I was on June 22nd, so that's the 3rd day.
Almost a Gemini, right? Almost a Gemini, but it's a Cancer. Yeah, so that's why we do interviews. That's why we like people, because we're Cancer.
Oh, awesome! Look at that. The more you know.
Yes, so, I love it.
And this is around the time that your family gets home from wherever they're doing.
Yeah, today they were in play dates in different houses because they are growing up. They are 8 and 6, really big kids.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But they were in the morning. I was doing a camp where I work, so they were with me. So the afternoon, I say, okay, you can fly a little bit.
So tell me, where did this passion for education came? Because you mentioned you were a nutritionist in Brazil. Now you're here with your family, but now at Motivating Minds, you're there, you're teaching, tutoring, and education.
Yes.
So where that passion came from?
Okay, so I as a child, I didn't think I was good enough. I have a super smart brother that once that in first of the classroom had all the awards. He was amazing. I don't discuss it, but I was not amazing as him. So I had I think I have a little bit of ADHD because I had a hard time concentrating. My grades were not good. And right now that I grew up and I say, okay, I can study. Okay, I get lost at sometimes. I daydream, but I know how to regroup myself. So I grew up thinking I cannot learn English because in Brazil I had English classes. I did English classes for my entire life, but I never moved forward. And so I think I cannot learn English, learn things are hard. I don't like geography, all these bad things. And it really affected my self-esteem. So when I grew up and I went through a lot of mental hard things after motherhood that you say, okay, I need to rethink about myself, remake myself after this, so many changes. Say, okay, what's the real problem? I really cannot learn, or I can try to do better. So I just find my way, and I say, oh, this is so good to think you were capable of doing something. It's so good to speak English after so many years. Everybody's saying I was bad at it. So it's so good to conquer something. And I said, you know what? My big passion in life is reading. If you're gonna find me in the pool, I'm gonna have a book in my bag if it's not in my hands. If you find me in Starbucks, it's gonna have a book in my bag or in my hands. Like, I always have a book around. I'm really a bookworm. So at some point, and when my daughter started to read, I said, wow, it looks so easy. Like, she did it so well. Oh, it's amazing when we were reading together and all of this. And then I start to see that some kids couldn't. And I said, you know what? Something's wrong. Like, I cannot see these kids that can't enjoy this amazing thing that open a world for you, that you learn so much. So I'm a biography type of person. So I love to read about other people, and I learn so much with this. So how is it possible for a child don't be able to learn so much and feel that they're not capable, and at some point maybe drop off the school? Like, it's not fair. So it go all together of seeing my daughter growing up and learning to read and see that other people maybe can't, and all my past story came all together and say, okay, maybe I cannot change the world, but if I can help one kid, it's going to be enough to make me happy. So I start to search how to be a reading specialist. That's what I'm finishing my dyslexia certification right now. So it's what I do. I do intervention. I like get the kids that are having a hard time to read, and I do a different type of instruction to help them to find their way on the reading and get better and move forward and feel capable. And it's usually build again the self-esteem. For me, is the main reason of a better society in the future. People that feel they are capable, they are good, that they're creative, they can conquer the world, you know, just give power for the kids to feel they are good enough. So this came my love for education.
That's awesome. When we were doing the pre-podcast chat, the warm up, you mentioned that you can tell how many people you're gonna have in jail based on the reading, right?
Yeah. So sometimes you can it's not
statistics, or tell, you can predict.
Thank you. I was trying to find a word in English. This is a bilingual problem sometimes.
You can say it in Portuguese.
Okay, thank you. So you can predict how many people are going to have in jail by your reading rates, because usually when you have a low reading rate, a lot of these kids are going to drop off before high school. So if they don't have education, they're not going to find jobs probably if they don't go to high school. So then we're going to find another bad ways of surviving. So then you can predict your inmates in a city by your reading rates. And if you see in a jail, around 50% of people in jail are dyslexic. So it's really sad, because it's just they didn't find a way to do anything else. You know, like if you can't read, you cannot really buy a cake mix and make it, because you can't read how to do it. No, it's really frustrating. And frustration can bring a lot of bad stuff from anyone, you know. So this is really, but we're going to share a good number. This is the bad number, but the good number, the good statistic, because we cannot finish a sentence with these bad numbers. We're going to talk about the good numbers, that are 60% of self-made millionaires are dyslexic. Ha!
Perfect.
So we're going to finish this part of statistics with a good one.
I like it. That's a good way to do it. So talking about dyslexia, that's the word.
Yes.
Right? So for those that don't know, what is dyslexia? What is dyslexia exactly?
Dyslexia would be called word blindness. So is when some kids that have perfect vision and everything, it's a super healthy kid that can't read the words the way it's usually instructed in schools. In schools, you just believe that kids learn to read by learning to read the way they learn to walk. But our brains were really not made to read. It's something that we conquer over the time. So a really big percentage of the kids we're going to have hard time reading. And we only have between 5 and 10% of the kids that are dyslexic, that they really can't read a word unless you really teach them with structure and a systemic way. So in their brains, instead of both sides of the brains, right and left, working at the same time, they have usually only the right. If you do an MRI, you know, so they did studies that you can see. So you see the brain of a dyslexic kid, only the right side is activated right there reading. So they don't have this connection with both sides. So they need to do a new pathway to reading. So we know how to do it. You have instruction, but it's a different type of instruction that's going to make this new pathway in the brain for the kids to learn, to make the connections. Because if you think in the alphabet is just the way you say the sounds, you put it in the reading things. So with what you call phonemes, that are what you say, and graphemes, that are what you write. So some kids don't have this connection. So we need to teach them to make the connection of what they say and what they write. So one of the red flags of dyslexic kids is that they had hard time to start to speak when they are a child, because it's all about the speaking used to be hard for them, not only after in the reading. It's really have really big red flags since little kids. Hard time to speak, hard time rhyming, hard time to remember lullabies or like this super easy songs like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, because it's all about rhyming and they have a hard time with the rhyming. They don't understand the rhyme. They can't really listen it. So we work as kind of a physiotherapy, work with the sounds every day, making manipulation of the sounds in the words. So we don't want to teach them the alphabet. We do different way to study words. We use we touch sometimes the arm to teach a sight word. I use, for example, I show them a letter and they need to tell me, so they're gonna see it and then they're gonna speak at the same time. So you're using two different sensory ways at the same time. And then I say a sound, for example, the sound is P, and the kid go and say, oh, letter P says P, right? They write it. So we have a multi-sensory way of teaching the reading. And this make different connections in the brain because it's multi-sensory. So use a different sense to do the same thing that in school is just like look at the word and remember which word is this, or like a little instruction about it, but not using a whole body that some kids just need.
I mean, I have no idea. This is awesome. And this is what I was thinking about how you went from being told you can't speak English to now being here, not only speaking English very well, by the way, to teaching people struggling speaking.
So you know, this is what I think the books really helped me. One thing that helped me a lot in the English was reading books. I remember until today that when I was in Brazil, I got like an English book. You know, we go to the library and say, oh, to the bookstore, I'm gonna buy this English book because I know how to speak English. Everybody say that I can't, but I can. No. I couldn't. I remember until today, I couldn't go after the first page. So when I was here and I'd say, okay, I'm gonna read a book in English, it was so hard, so painful. Like I remember the dictionary on my side. Okay, what word does it mean? What? It was hard to understand by the context and learn. But now, if you see my books, it's all in English. And when I read a translated book in Portuguese, that sometimes I buy a book translated, I just can't read anymore because now I can understand the translation and how wrong sometimes is this translation, because you're just trying to find words that, you know, now I can make this relation. So, and this is amazing. We are here, we are raising bilingual people. So their brains of these kids is already amazing. You know, we are raising so many bilingual kids. This is so awesome. So they can do a lot of stuff. But the kids that have hard time reading, as I was telling you before, it's hard because they get frustrated, and frustration can make us act out, or sometimes we don't want to show. So that I just told you about a movie that on the movie.
Please share it with our guests. I have homework, by the way.
Yes,
guys.
homework
I have two. I have a book to read. I have a book called The Outliers.
Yes, from Malcolm Gladwell.
Which is about the 10,000 hours.
Yeah, that we need to practice something to get good.
And then I have a movie called Like Stars on Earth.
Yes. And on this movie, you're going to see that the teacher called the kid like, oh, can you read this for me? And he just looked at the page and I don't know how to read. So he like, "No, no, 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 no." And the teacher gets so mad at him and everybody laughed. But he was just acting out, not to make fun of the teacher, but he just couldn't. And he was so frustrated and nobody understand his issues. And this movie is really beautiful because you see the boy getting so depressed, but then a teacher bring the shine again from him. It's really beautiful. Like everybody gonna cry, but it's worth to watch and understand it because another bad statistic, but we can make it better if we work on it, is around 90% of the teachers doesn't know about dyslexia. So
wow,
this is really sad, like teachers doesn't know about dyslexia. So how they can help it if they don't know about it? It's not even the teacher's fault. It's not even sometimes not even the system fault, but they don't even know because the bachelor in education don't teach about dyslexia, don't have any course about dyslexia. So I'm doing a dyslexia certification, but most of the people that are with me in the certification, they didn't have any class about dyslexia before. Zero.
Would you consider this to be a standard in education now? Should it be part of the course? Like it should be like you graduate, you do this in school.
Because if you only have like special ed teachers, really apart from teachers, how can you see a red flag in your classroom in a nice and correct way if you don't know that this is a red flag of a real disability? You need to be aware about something to understand something. If you're not aware, you're just going to understand it in a different way. If you were aware that dyslexia can make this and this and this and this, you're going to say, oh my God. Like I can see on my students when they start to get frustrated, when they start to act out, when they start to jump around or anything that they do in my classroom, I understand why they're doing it and I can speak with them. Okay, you were frustrated now, you were mad at me because I know that it's hard, but that's hard for everybody. And that we need to work on this. That's going to make a break. Like I can read my student. But if you cannot, because I know what they need from me, but if you don't know what they need from you, because you don't even know that this exists, the system start to get really messy and it's just a big problem. So what we can at least do is teach about dyslexia for who we know. And, some people are going to say, oh my God, maybe my kid is dyslexic. I was watching an interview with Mr. Wonderful, the Shark Tank guy.
Is he the bald guy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to send you the interview after.
Yeah.
And he's dyslexic. And he cries in the interview, saying how hard it was for him when he was a child and he couldn't read. And now he's Mr. Wonderful, in Shark Tank. And millionaire. So we have so many millionaires. I was telling you, like the JetBlue founder, IKEA founder. We have Whoopi Goldberg, Steven Spielberg, Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, a lot of amazing dyslexics around. So we need to start to understand who is outside this little box, because even outside the box, we're going to have really amazing people. We just need to understand that the box needs to be a little bit bigger to everybody fit in the box if we're going to have a box, or just take the box out and that's going to understand we are all different people, me and my brother, my genius brother. So if you put me in the same box as my brother, oh my God, poor me.
Well, I'm sure you've gotten far, but I like what you said. I think that if teachers included this in their education, they could identify, this kid is acting up because it could be this less.
Yes.
Wow. Maybe I have this. I can't even say it. I'm not going to say it.
Dyslexia.
Dyslexia.
You get there.
Okay.
Dyslexia is with an X. Dyslexia.
Dyslexia. Ahí está.
You did it. You see?
Woo! Graduated.
I'm good in feedback.
Thank you. I have a question. You said our brains are not made for reading. Yes. I was curious. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yes. So when you think about human beings, we were made to walk. Like nobody needs to teach you to walk. You just learn to walk, right? You don't need to learn to breathe. You just you get born and breathe. Nobody teach you to crawl. Nobody teach you to eat. Nobody teach you to run. It's like some abilities that you just have. But why we need to teach you to read if it was innate? If it was born with you, the ability to read, nobody needs to teach you to read. So our brains were really not developed because how many years human beings are in the world? So at that point, we didn't have reading languages. It was developed between signs and then getting to the alphabet. And we still have different types of alphabets around the world. So we were really not made how many millions of years ago to read, but now we need to read a lot. So that's why maybe like soccer, some kids, we're gonna just play soccer beautifully without any help, like the reading, but some we're gonna need instruction for gymnastics, to swimming, to soccer, for everything that we were really not born to do, but we are able to do. We just need, some of us, we're gonna need instruction for something that others don't need. Why reading would be different than all the sports and everything else, like math. We need instruction for math. So if you think reading is the same, we just don't think reading is so taken for granted because it's getting so easily, because we have a thing that it's just a beautiful name, but I love to say it, the orthographic mapping. That's just the way our brain look at the word and read it. You don't think about it. You read Crandon Boulevard and we're not realizing we're reading Crandon Boulevard. You know, we're just reading Crandon Boulevard.
I mean, I can read most of the words I've written down, except dyslexia. Ah, got it.
You got it. You see? You see, every brain can be trained. You see?
I've loved
you
learning
just need the correct instruction, and you know that is the X sound. See? It works. It real works.
I can see it. I can see. I love it. I love it. I'm glad that this is happening, that there's specialization. I want to say this is something that should have been a standard, but I'm glad that there's people like yourself that are specializing it and helping people, identifying that need and helping people that way.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, everybody can be bright and everybody can be amazing. And even if you have a hard time to read, if you're dyslexic and maybe you're not going to be fluent as everybody else, you need to have the correct accommodations in the school. So you don't need to rush to read, or maybe you're going to have extended time for a test because you can read, you can answer the questions, but you need more time. You need to feel capable about it. You know, like you were capable. Everybody is. You just need the correct instruction. And then sometimes it's hard to find the way to correct instruction, because the truth is reading interventionists, especially in Miami, I think we have a lot of Latin people and the English is not so, I don't know why, but it's really not something super easy to find. It's not because I do it, but if you go up like New York is much easier. And it's really interesting when I have kids come from New York, they are so different the way they think, the way the school works. So I went to do a research, like why New York kids are so bright in the school stuff. So do you know that the like average amount that we spend in Miami Dade schools, kids, is $10,000, but New York spend $19,000 a year per kid. So if you have more money for the kids, to spend for kids, you're going to hire maybe better teachers, better interventionists, because every kid that have a red flag and you're going to show up in the assessments that they have a problem with reading, they should get intervention at school. They should have it for at least 3 times a week, you know, but most of the schools don't even get the assessment, but you don't find an interventionist because you don't pay well or whatever. You just don't find them, you know. So it's really sad, but as I said, I'm not going to move the mountains, but we can try to help some kids.
Because I mean, with the passion and energy, I think you are a mountain that's moving.
Yeah, let's try a revolution.
No,
I'm gonna get the revolution. I'm gonna get there.
No, this is awesome. I like this episode because we are learning a lot. I am learning a lot about, I mean, about what you do and the need for reading interventionists and you know, I mean, I don't have kids, so I'm not involved. Um, but this is good to know for a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people know what's out there.
But you are in the society. So if we
I should
don't
know.
raise, no, the thing is you get affected, because if you don't raise amazing human beings for the future of the society, you're going to get affected as well. So think kids nowadays are going to be grown-ups, and they're going to be the doctors, they're going to be the engineers, they're going to build the planes, they're going to attend us in the ER. So whoever we are building, they're going to teach our kids one day, you know? So the all society get affected, even if you don't have kids, but everybody get affected the way our kids are being educated right now.
So this conversation has been great. I know that we're running out of time, and I have one more question for you. What is a perfect weekend for you in Key Biscayne?
Okay, perfect weekend in Key Biscayne. From Saturday to Sunday, because we have a lot of things that we do here. Like, I'm a big colony girl, so I would start my Saturday in the beach and sandbar until mid of the day, you know, and maybe we can, if it's rainy, we can stop by at the library with my kids. I love it. They know me there because I'm there all the time. I love the library here. Starbucks coffee after lunch, and see the sunset at Bilbeck's. This is the perfect day that I can reply all over again on Sunday, starting with the church in the morning, and then do my lunch at Sandbar again, or Milanesa that I love. This new restaurant, this Narbona, I just love this new restaurant. So good. I love it. And I just can go every single day, if I could, to Bilbao to see the sunset. Sunset's the best time of the day. I just love it.
Awesome. Bruna, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me before the podcast and to share your story here live. I mean, recorded live.
Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Same here.
Thank you.